Alrighty, let's try this whole thing again, yeah? Howdy doody, we had a bit of a technical issue last time, but I have addressed the technical issue and we are back. Yeah, hi. Um, the Dogman movie. I did say I was gonna do this stream and I was going to do another one on Thursday and Friday. Those aren't canceled, so don't worry about that. Um, the Thursday and Friday ones are just going to be regular Jetter streams. This one's also going to be shorter. It's not supposed to be a long stream by any means. I'm mostly just reviewing like the Dogman movie and a few things I got when I went to go see the Dogman movie. There's some smudges on my glasses still, and I just cleaned them last time I tried to do this. That is okay. That is something. um, in terms of actually seeing it, I did see it in theaters. This is the Regal Cup, because I went to Regal to watch it. There are different cups for different theaters, and this is the Regal Cup. It's got a nice design around it, which I think is really cool. Or at least for the cup, it's really cool. And then it has a detachable PD that sits in a little part of the cup here. Like that. And then we've got the bucket. It's full of toys, but it's like a pail, as you can see, with like the different characters on it and stuff like that. I think, what is it? Cinemark or something like that has the bucket and the cup both with the same kind of design, but the difference is they swap the actual design palettes, which is very interesting. I think that the designs I got from Regal, they fit the cup and they fit the bucket pretty well. Secondly, alright, let's get into the actual movie review. I'm not gonna like summarize the movie and go off that. I'm gonna just get straight to the points that I was actually trying to make. You know what I mean? So let's just like start there and make the points first and then go off of that. One of the main things I wanted to talk about that I loved about the movie. Obviously, I love the movie. That goes without question. I've been a Dogman fan for 8 years, shamelessly. Since January 2017, it is now February 2025. So that is a long time running. I'm still a Dogman fan, and I have it in hyperfixational waves. And obviously, as you can tell, it's already come back to me. I don't think that needs an explanation. And watching the movie, seeing what it brought out, really, it satisfied my every part of my inner fan. Which brings me to my first point. That movie was unbelievably faithful to its source material that it's almost sad. The source material in the movie itself was very good. It directly quoted at times, and if it didn't directly quote, it had a strong reference that referenced something that actually happened in the book. So it was either a direct quote or it was like a reference version. And honestly, having that in there worked really well. Additionally, if they had neither an actual quote nor like a version of the quote, they had something that would still make sense in the Dogman universe. Being that faithful to the source material warms my heart, like really right here in my heart, it warms. I need to move this light away from my eyes. Just slightly. There we go. It's better on the eyes. It's not directly in my eyes anymore. That's great. It's a lamp. Anyways, so yeah, the fact that it is very faithful to its source material with or without direct quotes is already a huge green flag. It has like, even down to the animation style is really good for its source material. Captain Underpants did pretty much the same thing, but I want to go a step further and say that Dogman really grasped it. Whereas Captain Underpants did well. I'm not going to say it didn't, because I watched that in theaters too when it came out, and it was still pretty good. However, in a way, Dogman had something slightly different going on that still really worked, and it hit the points just a little bit better. It had a lot of comic style effects, it had a lot of special effects that brought the animation to life. The animation was fabulous. I refuse to believe anything different. that you know what I mean. It's just the faithfulness to the source material down to actual references, animation, quotes, you name it, it's there. The script was great and all that. The loyalty to the source material really does put a place in my heart. Um, Loyalty to the source material aside, one of the other things I loved about the movie, and I mean this when I say this, but another thing I really loved about the movie was um, the relationship building between each of the characters. They do not shy away from showing like the bonding between the characters, how they get along with one another, how they get along in their environment, and that is a really important thing. Establishing relationships between characters with one another and then characters in their environment is such a huge part of what will get a really good story going for you. And the Dogman movie does not fall short of this whatsoever. Obviously, a lot of it is also like, yeah, they obviously had a good relationship in the books and da 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 da. But, hear me out, like the way they do it in the movie, the way they are able to portray this without directly coming out and saying it, it really is beautiful, and it does really add to the storyline. On the part of the storyline, the characters bonding and the character relationships, this brings me to my next point. And this deserves its whole own little box rant, but Petey being a great sympathetic villain, I do love his role in the movie. Um, his role in the movie is very interesting to me because, like, okay, he we establish some part in the story that Petey's father never treated him well, and so he is kind of like he's got some trauma going on, some daddy issues, if you will. And now he has this clone that is his son, which he does eventually treat like a son, but we'll get there. When Petey realizes he is stuck with a younger version of himself, and that it is now his job to, how do I say, break the trauma, you know? It's And then seeing him actually go ahead and do this in a way, he realizes that he could stop the mess that was he and his own father. He could be different. And so at some point, in some way, he does. At first, obviously not, because Petey is stuck in a situation that he didn't ask for. He was only trying to clone himself and didn't read the directions properly, so of course he ended up with a mistake. He even ordered the undo button. But seeing how he grows as a character and learns to actually take care of himself in the way that he wasn't cared for as a child is incredibly, like, it shows his sympathy. It shows that he is gaining as a character. And when he actually does receive the undo button, which happens toward the end of the movie, he throws it down a drain, showing that he doesn't need this. Which that shows real character growth. The way they showed the character growth, they did not shy away from that. Not only is that book reference, but it is like, even without the book reference, that would be an amazing way to point out that character. Ew. What else did I want to bring up? I can't even drink this. I have a mask on. What am I doing? Another thing I really, really, really liked in the movie was the way it handles the subject matter. It does have some deep moments. Obviously, it's chaotic and silly, because that's the nature of how Dogman has always been. Like, book, movie, whatever, it's always been that way. Silly with a pinch of serious. Sometimes it can get heartfelt. And if it knows how to portray that, if it knows how to tone itself in a way and hone in on what needs to be listened to, then of course it's okay to do. Dogman is one of the only few things I've noticed that does this correctly. I've seen games fail at this time and time again, but Dogman, both movie and book, they don't even, like, fall short. They just have it right there. They have the silly, funny, goofy adventures, because of course that happens. But at the same time, they're able to turn around and say, here is an actual beautiful story with some genuine emotion. That is where a lot of the character development comes from, and characters establishing relationships, as I brought before. That being in the Dogman movie, that is really strong, I think. For a silly, goofy, chaotic movie that is unapologetically so, you know, having that heartfelt moment in a way that doesn't feel forced in or anything like that, that is something that not only I deeply appreciate and is good to the books, but is something that makes a movie quality good. If it's able to treat its subject matter respectfully while still being funny and silly, then, you know, um, that kind of a thing is what really does it for me when it comes to like the movie scene. I don't watch a lot of movies as it is, but when a movie like this portrays something in the way that the Dogman movie does, I feel like it's a win in my heart. And obviously the Dogman movie was. All right. I think in terms of actual review, that is what I have to say. Like I'm mostly just rambling. Maybe I can talk a bit more about the animation. I do like it. I've already mentioned that it's very comic style-esque. It's even got like rough sketch lines and places to like, not because, oh, it's an accident, but it's done on purpose to bring out its comic elements despite being animated in 3D. Um, a lot of stuff like that really does help it in a way, which I think is great. Yeah, I think that's about all that I have to say about it that I haven't already said. My favorite parts of the movie were obviously, like I already mentioned, the most heartfelt moments, the relationship building with the characters. All of what I've mentioned tying in with one another is really good. Like, it made the movie amazing. Um, and I think that's about it. So, thank you for watching if you did. This will be on YouTube in some time. Uh, I guess before I go, if you want one last look at the cup, look at that. Look at how detailed that is. You can see, and these are actual things, references in the actual movie. It's pretty cool. And then the bucket, obviously. Look at that. Look at him. He's smiling through the pain. Yeah. Thank you for watching. Goodbye, and I'll see you some other time, maybe. Question mark. I don't know. Bye bye. I love the movie.